Today we're going to discuss Python control flow and what it is. Hi guys, today we're going to talk about the if, elif, and else statements, and at the end we will have a challenge. What is control flow? Well, it's the way that a program makes decisions, and all programs need to be able to make decisions, otherwise they will not be very useful. So let's discuss the Python syntax. Okay, so I'm going to do a very rudimentary example. We're going to test our age for whether we are old enough to pass our driver's license test. Okay, so I'm going to give a variable, convert it because input statement always returns string, and we want an integer value. Okay, so that will capture the keyboard input. It'll convert it using the integer conversion and we'll put it in age. And now we have something to test. So the basic if statement is if age greater than or equal to 18, that is the condition. Okay, and then you're going to do something. In this case, we're just going to print a message. Okay, if that is false, you want a statement to catch that. So that is the else. So if that's not true, then the else path of the if else would then be executed. Okay, so that is if else in its simplest form. You have if, you check a condition, and then depending on if it's true or false, the statements that will be fired or executed. Now, this statement block can be any number of statements. It can include any number of if statements, so you can have a whole bunch of if statements nested in here if you want to check more complex values or what is the word I'm looking for? Workflow paths or control flow, but this is the simplest form. So let's execute it. What is your age? Let's see, 23. I'm going to test both conditions. You are old enough to drive. Okay. My age, it's 13. You are not old enough to drive. Okay, so that's a simple example. Okay, I'm going to do another one. Let's say you want to determine whether a number entered is odd or even. How would you go about doing that? So let's ask the user to enter a number. Okay, so now you have a number. It's something to test against. Okay, okay. So now, how do you test whether something is even? Well, anything that is divisible by 2 and does not have a remainder is therefore even. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, you check num modulus 2, and the modulus operator will divide the number by 2 and return a remainder. And if there is no remainder, then it is even. So you check it against 0. If it is 0, then you have an even number. If that is false, then it must be odd. There is no other option. Okay, so I'm going to don't forget the colon, otherwise you'll get those little errors. Okay, again, very simple if-else statements. Let's test it. Enter number 23. It's odd. Test again. It's even. Okay, right. Now we're going to discuss comparison operators because you will be using these in your decisions. Okay, so I'll make this easier to free flowing. Okay, so you have your greater than, less than, greater than, equal to, less than or equal to, you have the equality operator, which is two equal signs, not to be confused with one equal sign, which is an assignment operator. I'll put that here. Okay, and then you'll have the not equal to operator. Okay, right. So now we're going to do a little bit more complex solution where we're going to use the if, elif, and else statement in a quick test for insurance categories. So let's see, let's just call it insurance just something simple to demonstrate the if, elif, and else statements. Okay, so basically it's going to ask your age. I'm going to convert it. It's going to ask the question, what is your age? Okay, and then it's going to take that and it's going to use that in the test. So now we all know when you're doing an insurance for your car, for example, there is different age categories and you'll be quoted an amount based on what your age is and in what category you fall age-wise. Okay, so the test will then be, so it's going to test age if age is greater than or equal to 18 and less than equal to less than and equal to say 25. That can be our first sort of category. Right. Okay, so I've left out age there. That's why it's complaining. Okay, so now you can do it like that in a complex statement using the AND syntax, or there's maybe a better way you can do it that's more readable. And you do it like this by putting the age in the middle, and you can compare it on each side. And yeah, that to me looks more readable until it says age. It's basically an easy way to read that this is age is between these two values. Okay, so let's test that. Right, let's see what is your age. Okay, so let's test the first one. Let's say 16. Well, let's test the catch all. Okay, you're not old enough to drive, so we know it gets to the else. Okay, so let's test it again. And the way to do this is you test on the edges of each of the categories. So 18, your insurance will be $1,000. Now we're going to test the top of the range, which is 25, and it's also $1,000. Now you can test it in between if you want to be satisfied that it's definitely going to fall in that category, and then you can test. You should test all of them, but I'm just going to test one more. So let's test. Okay, let's test this one here. 46 to 55. So let's say my age is, I don't know, 50. Okay, so it should be 400, which it is, and great. I can test 55. If it's greater than 55, so let's say I'm 60. Right, we know that works. Okay, so that is basically a more advanced or more complete if else statement. If you have multiple conditions, then you can use the elif to specify all the different conditions. Okay, so let's move on to the challenge that I spoke about. Okay, guys, so now we're going to discuss the challenge. Okay, so here's the challenge statement. It says print fizz when a number is divisible by 3 and buzz when divisible by 5 and fizzbuzz when divisible by both. Okay, so accomplish this, I'm going to first introduce you to the range function and a basic for loop. So for num in range 1 to 10, and we will discuss the range function and for loop in another tutorial where I will deal with for loops. But for now, we're just going to give you the basic setup. Okay, so that will basically, from that code, from this code, it's basically saying print out a number in this range 1 to 10. Okay, that is, must be print num. Just fix that. Okay, so let's run that, and it will print out 1 to 9. You will notice that 9 is printed and not 10 because the stop number is never included in the result. It stops just before 10. Okay, so it won't be in the result. Okay, so you'll need that for loop in your challenge. So go off and do the challenge now, and then we'll come back and discuss the solution. Go do it now. Okay, guys, so we are back, and now we are going to discuss the solution. So I'm going to go from 1 to 100. Okay, and we are going to use the number in a test statement. Basically, we're going to start with if num modulus 15 is equal to 0, then let's see, then you must print fizz buzz. Okay, elif if num modulus 3 is equal to 0, print that I've left off the comments there, so let's fix my mistake. Print fizz. Okay. So that will do print buzz. Right, so that is the basics. Okay, so then we need the else. So what must the else do? So if none of these are true, then what must it do? It must just print the number. Right, so let's quickly run through that and test it. Okay, so let's just go through this. So 1, 2, then a fizz, which is because divided by 3 will give you fizz. 4, 5 will divide by 5, so it'll give you buzz. Then fizz again because it's 6. 9 will be again fizz because it's 3. Buzz is it's 10, so it'll be 5. And then fizz again because 12 is divisible by 3. And then 15 is fizz buzz. Okay, which is correct. Now you might be asking, why am I doing the modulus 15 first? Well, if I did it at the end and I did 3 and 5 first, that would never fire because, or never be true, because 3 and 5 are also perfectly divisible into 15. So you want to check that first before you check these two, because if you put 3 first, then 3 would show up, and it would be fizz would show up. And if you happen to put 5 first, then buzz would show up. So you put 15 first, so that can test for that first and print fizz buzz when you have something divisible by 15. Okay, right guys, I hope that is the solution you were looking for, or similar to your solution. Your solution might not be the same, but as long as it got the same result, you have solved the problem. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and like and subscribe to the channel, and have a good day.